Hello. This is Antya from Byte Shuffle. Thank you for always watching our videos. This time, I put together a guide on how to play against Eldrazi post when using Doomsday, including strategy tips and sideboard considerations. There's also a link to the pile breakdown video in the description, so feel free to check it out. Here is the deck list we will be using this time. I'm going to keep this hand since I can go all in early. I'm going to dig for Dark Ritual. If I find it, I'll go all in right away. I didn't find it, so I'm shuffling. It was a misplay. I misunderstood the effect of Blast Zone and didn't play out Lotus Petal early. I let Trinosphere resolve because I had lands in hand and didn't expect a fast follow-up based on the opponent's mana sequencing, but looking back, that was also a misplay. I'm going all in. From here. Kozilek's Command and Disruptor Flute are likely the key cards that can cause me to lose this matchup. With Trinosphere already on the battlefield, I'll include Lion's Eye Diamond in the pile to ensure I can pay the 3-mana tax if Disruptor Flute shows up. I'll also add a Cycler to pair with it for reliable mana setup. If the opponent taps out in response to something, I'll structure the pile so I can go straight for the win with Thassa's Oracle. If it's obvious the opponent is holding up Kozilek's Command, I'll play out Lion's Eye Diamond, pass the turn, and then go for Thassa's Oracle while leaving one card in the pile to avoid losing to the Scry. If Kozilek's Command is cast in response, I'll activate Lion's Eye Diamond and cast Thassa's Oracle from the pile to win the game. I built the pile in the following order: Thassa's Oracle, Edge of Autumn, Street Wraith, Lion's Eye Diamond. I'm using the pile opener to draw through the pile. I win the game with Thassa's Oracle. Before sideboarding, I'd like to review the list we used. First, the conclusion. I will explain it step by step. Here are the cards in Eldrazi post that can impact Doomsday. Since the opponent is on a Stompy-style deck, it's important to bring in cards like Force of Will and Consign to Memory. It's also perfectly reasonable to take out cards like Cavern of Souls and Night's Whisper in their place. Now, let's take a closer look at the individual cards. First up is Disruptor Flute. You can use ritual-based mana acceleration to cover the additional costs, or avoid it entirely by putting Thassa's Oracle into the graveyard with Consider and bringing it back with Unearth. Next is Chalice of the Void, which the opponent will almost always set to 1 to shut down your 1-mana spells. By using Lotus Petal and Cabal Ritual, you can play around Chalice of the Void, so only counter it when it poses a serious threat. Next, Trinosphere. If you already have enough lands in hand, it might be safe to ignore it. Then there's Karn, the Great Creator, which shuts down your Lotus Petal and Lion's Eye Diamond. Depending on the board state, you might be able to ignore it, but it's definitely something to keep in mind when building your pile. Next is Thought-Knot Seer. Against most Stompy decks, discard spells tend to be weak plays, so ideally, you'd want to swap them out for more impactful cards from your sideboard. However, since there aren't enough cards worth bringing in from the sideboard this time, the discard spells end up staying in the deck. In that case, you'll have to choose which to prioritize between Duress and Thoughtseize. Given the presence of Thought-Knot Seer, Thoughtseize is more valuable here because it can hit creatures as well, so I'd rate it higher in this matchup. So I adjusted by trimming Thoughtseize from 3 copies to 2 in the main board and taking out all copies of Duress. Next, Kozilek's Command. If you cast Thassa's Oracle with an empty library, the Scry mode from Kozilek's Command can force you to lose the game. That's why you need to leave at least one card in the pile when going off, to avoid losing to the Scry effect. However, since it can also remove Thassa's Oracle or exile your graveyard, The ideal play is to use discard spells or have counterspell backup before committing to the Oracle win. I'm going to mulligan, I want a faster hand. I'm going to mulligan since I don't have any lands. Bottom unearth and personal tutor. Chalice of the Void is set to x=1. I play Lion's Eye Diamond in advance to play around Chalice of the Void. The Surveil effect puts the card into the graveyard. I'll look for either Lotus Petal or Cabal Ritual. Disruptor Flute names Doomsday. Chalice of the Void is set to x=0. Activating the fetch land here was a misplay. Using Lotus Petal here was also a misplay. I'll counter it with Force of Negation. I'll look for Cabal Ritual. Here, our adventure comes to an end. I'm going to mulligan because I want a faster opening hand. I'll keep this hand since it looks like I can go all in early. I'll put the dual land on the bottom. I'll play Lotus Petal first. I'll search for Doomsday. Chalice of the Void is set to x=1 and x=0. I'm going all in. From here. If they already have it, there's no way to play around it, but I'll include Force of Will in the pile, keeping in mind both Disruptor Flute and Kozilek's Command. Once I've dealt with my opponent's disruption, I want to secure the win immediately, so I'll fill the remaining slots in the pile with Cyclers. Keeping Kozilek's Command in mind, I'll make sure to leave one card in the pile before going off. I don't think the opponent is running Wasteland, but just in case, I included a dual land as insurance. I built a pile in the following order: dual land Thassa's Oracle, Edge of Autumn, Force of Will, Street Wraith. Chalice of the Void is set to x=2. I'll counter it with Daze. I'll start drawing cards from the pile using my pile opener. I win the game with Thassa's Oracle. Lastly, I have an announcement. I'm posting the concepts behind the images used in my videos, as well as small flavor-inspired stories, in the YouTube community section. Additionally, I'm selling merch for the channel through the link in the description. If you're interested, be sure to check it out. Thank you for watching up to this point. I apologize for the many play mistakes. I hope to improve at MTG together with everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving it a thumbs up. See you next time. This is Antya.